Hello everyone, my name is Brad and welcome to today's LEGO video, where we're looking at 10 unexpectedly expensive minifigures. Now before we get started, here are some basic guidelines that I tried to follow as I made this list. First off, I'm limiting this list to minifigures that were actually relatively obtainable to large populations of people. So in other words, I'm not going to be including any kind of Comic-Con figure or other limited exclusives. I figured that lists like that are a bit overdone as it is, and instead of doing another list like that, I wanted to focus in on figures that actually became quite valuable in their own right without it being due to just them being not available. And so without further ado, here's the list. First off, I've included Finn the Human from Adventure Time, and he retails for anywhere from around $25 to $30 now. This protagonist from Cartoon Network's Adventure Time made his debut as a minifigure back in 2016 as part of the LEGO Dimensions level pack, dedicated to the world of the show. Now this minifigure packs a real punch with an exclusive head, torso, and legs. For mock builders, I think that the torso is particularly useful as it can be used as a short-sleeved t-shirt in that uncommon medium azure color. The printed shorts are also great for custom minifigures, and additionally, Finn's hat mold is unique to the figure. The figure's lime backpack isn't exclusive, but rare in that besides Finn, it only ever came with the Series 10 Skydiver and as an additional part in the LEGO Simpsons house, which is also a pretty rare set. For the second entry on our list, I have Twitch from Toy Story, which retails anywhere now from around $70 to $100 in the United States and $50-ish if you're buying internationally. Now, of course, those privy to the LEGO YouTube community will understand why this Toy Story minifigure has risen so much in its popularity and consequently now to a really high price. One of the biggest LEGO YouTubers, Just Too Good, has used this mantis-like figure as the face of his YouTube channel for years now. This is the main reason why I believe that this minifigure has become more and more expensive and elusive over the years, but I still think that some may be surprised at just how expensive the figure has gotten. Outside of the minifigure's YouTube fame, it's special in its own right too, as every single piece of the minifigure is exclusive. The head and wings are particularly awesome pieces to have in a collection, as they are molds that are unique to the figure. One challenge with it is that the two antennas are removable and thus very easily lost, making it kind of difficult to come across a used version of the figure that includes both of them. They're very frequently not included as, kids who are the primary buyers of LEGO just lose them over time. The minifigure was originally released in the Toy Story set 7599 Garbage Truck Getaway. And here's one bonus fact before we move on. While Twitch's green antennas are exclusive to him, they actually appear in the dark red color in Galaxy Squad as well. They were part of the winged mosquitoid figure for that theme, which was released 3 years later. The next minifigure on our list is DC's Superboy, which retails for around $50 if you can find it. This minifigure is unique in that it was never released in a traditional set. Rather, Superboy was released alongside 3 other minifigures in a promotional minifigure cube that was exclusive to Target in 2015. The cube was actually given away for free to shoppers spending $50 or more on LEGO at that time. Or, shoppers could simply buy the cube from Target.com for $15. Now, this ability to buy an exclusive simply straight out from a retailer is an idea that I love that I wish would be implemented more often to make it easier to obtain exclusives from retailers in LEGO. Superboy comes with all exclusive parts besides his hair, making him particularly desirable. However, since the figure was released in such an atypical manner, I think it is often forgotten or just simply unknown. Now our next entry is going to be Space Suit Batman from the LEGO Batman movie, which retails for around $50. He made his debut in 2018 with the Bat Space Shuttle set, which was as awesome as the name suggests, providing Batman with his very own large-scale space shuttle. The Space Batsuit minifigure includes exclusive prints for the torso and legs. Additionally, the figure provides a huge draw to LEGO space fans, as that black space helmet with air tanks has only ever been released in this Batman set. That fact alone is what I speculate has driven up the price of this minifigure so much, even more so than it being a Batman variant. Having astronaut gear in black is just too good for LEGO Space fans to pass up, I think. Now here's one more bonus fact for this one. The BAT Space Shuttle set's fuselage piece is also a rare example of a time when I would have actually preferred LEGO to have used a sticker rather than a print on a part. The fuselage piece has never been released in plain black without the Batman logo print, and would have been awesome to have for other mocks outside of Batman without that logo there. But since it's printed, that kind of ties that piece directly to Batman since his symbol is right there. And I think that the piece would have been more useful if it was just in plain black and if the sticker came separately to make it optional for mock builders. The next entry on our list is Queasy Unikitty, which retails for around $40 to $50. Now Unikitty is no stranger to a lot of different variants. A quick search on Bricklink will show more than 30 different variants for the character. The majority of these are extremely cheap, coming in at around anywhere from $1 to $2. Does anybody else remember when the Unikitty blind bag series was going on clearance and not even selling for $1? I mean, that goes to show how cheap these variants usually are. However, this variant was exclusive to the massive Metal Beard Sea Cow, a set that retailed for a whopping $250. Undoubtedly, I think that the high price of that initial set is what gives this Unikitty some rarity and value. The Queasy Unikitty is the most expensive of all the Unikitty variants, if you're going off of Bricklink prices, outside of the Apocalypseburg Unikitty, which you can count or not count because it was a 2018 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. For the Queasy Unikitty, both the face and the tail pieces are exclusive. Interestingly though too, is the simple 1x1 plate in yellowish green is also quite rare, as it has only ever appeared in 2 other sets, a Friends Cupcake Style Polybag and the Ninjago City of Sticks set. Here's a bonus tip. If you can't fork over the cash for this Unikitty, but are dying to get one that's similar, you can opt for a different Queasy Unikitty variant that came in the series of blind bags. At $2 to $3, that variant keeps in step with the usual price for this character. For our next entry on the list, we have our first Star Wars minifigure, and it's going to be the Mimban Stormtrooper, which sells for around $50 to $75. Released in the 2018 Imperial TIE Fighter set, this Stormtrooper looks great with the multicolored pattern stretching across the entire minifigure, representing the muck and grime of the bleak planet of Mimban. The printing truly is next level on this figure, featuring 5 different colors. Adding to the overall aesthetic, the figure also includes a ragged cape to top it off. I chose to include this figure on the list as the Solo movie itself was largely considered a disappointment financially. I do believe that the lackluster success of the film and negative word of mouth likely affected the sales of the Solo Lego sets, and I wouldn't be surprised if many fans have by now forgotten all about this outstanding minifigure, and that's why I wanted to include it on this list as an entry from Star Wars. Coming in next on our list is the Maersk truck driver minifigure. Now, this seemingly boring and banal minifigure was released back in 1995 alongside a Maersk truck, but over the years it has skyrocketed in value as it now fetches well over $100 and is also just quite difficult to come by at all. At the time of making this list on Bricklink, there are actually only 2 listings for this minifigure in the world, with the US listing asking a whopping $175. Additionally, the minifigure is kind of cool in that it symbolizes some interesting LEGO history. It represents the company's partnership with the fellow Danish shipping company Maersk, the only company to have an entire LEGO color dedicated to it. This minifigure's exclusive hat comes in the eponymous Maersk Blue. The history of the Maersk Blue LEGO color is an interesting rabbit hole on its own, but that's a story for a different day. One final historical note for this minifigure is that its torso design is actually a sticker, a practice that LEGO has long since discontinued but is interesting nonetheless. This minifigure proves that looks can be deceiving, and for all that it brings to the table, it definitely deserves a place on this list. One bonus fact for that minifigure. I bet part of the reason why it's also so expensive is that it's probably hard to find one of the Maersk truck driver figures with the sticker still intact on the torso. I bet those peel off over time. For the next entry on our list, we have the LEGO Infomaniac, who just looks like the kind of guy that would mosey around a grocery store just looking for people to chat up and help out in any way he could. The minifigure was originally released in the United States in a polybag alongside the 1997 computer game LEGO Island, which is a major throwback. Over time, the minifigure has become increasingly rare, costing $60 to $70 now, and both the torso and head are exclusive. Here's a bonus tip though. If you go out searching for this minifigure, be sure to confirm that it is the elusive 1997 version, as two other infomaniacs have been released, one in 2002 and the other in 2005. But those versions only sell for around $5. So, if you want a cheap alternative, go for one of those, as they're all pretty similar. For the next entry on our list, we have a classic knight minifigure, which actually doesn't have a specific name. You can find it in the Bricklink catalog listed under CAS003, and the name that Bricklink gives it is Knight Shield, red, blue, light gray helmet with black visor. Now this classic knight will set you back approximately 40 bones. Released in 1994, he appeared in a minifigure pack. While the complete figure is exclusive to that minifigure pack, none of the actual component parts are exclusive, and in fact, all of the parts for this minifigure appeared in set 383-2 Knights Tournament, but the parts were sprinkled across multiple different minifigures, so whether or not this minifigure is actually exclusive or not is subject to some debate. For my money, I'd say no, since all of the component parts were included in another set. This kind of debate reminds me of similar conundrums, such as whether or not a Jedi minifigure should be considered exclusive or not if it is given a generic cape in one set and not another. But regardless, this knight certainly carries an air of both distinction and nostalgia for LEGO fans. Now for the last entry on this list, we have a Ninjago figure with J Energy, which for a Ninjago figure is pretty expensive, coming in at around $30 used and $70 new. This figure's spike in price is rather unusual, as it was originally released as an ordinary retail set that sold for only $10 as part of the Ninjago Spinners sub-theme in 2012, a line of sets that consisted of buildable tops that could battle. Seeing a non-licensed, initially cheap figure reach such high prices on the aftermarket is certainly atypical, especially for a figure only 10 years old that hasn't quite reached the level of classic status yet. Every piece of the figure is exclusive though, but even still with that, with the figure's bright blues and comic-like aesthetic, I'm surprised that it has commanded such a high demand on the aftermarket from older LEGO fans. It's a cool figure, but for this one, I'm not exactly sure what sets it apart from other Ninjago figures that usually run anywhere from the $3 to $7 range. I did hear some people though saying that this figure was actually pretty rare to find in stores, so maybe that's part of what's driven up the price so much. If you know anything about that, let me know in the comments. Well, anyways guys, that does it for this video. Let me know down in the comments which of these minifigures you'd like to have the most, or if there's any that you actually do already have. If you know of any other unexpectedly expensive minifigures that I didn't include on this list, make sure to tell me about those as well. And until next time, see you later.